All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Yes, we're recording from the Bentley today, or the Ferrari. I actually forget which car we're in. Maybe the Toyota Camry Sports Edition. I'm not sure. But we do have a video. We are a little late. We're obviously not at home. But yeah, I still want to get the video out for you guys. So we're going to go through each and every MLB game today. We're going to jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games. But all my final plays, those will be in the pinned comments, so make sure to keep an eye on that. A bunch of early games in the MLB, a getaway day today. So yeah, we're trying to get these pinned comments out there early for you guys for the final plays, as we are kind of behind on recording too. But like I said, guys, we want to get the video out. I know you guys like the car videos, but nonetheless, yeah, just gotta address it that yes, for new viewers, we are in a car. It may be a Mercedes, but it's not. Gotta get the video out. It's not my fault. But we'll go through. I'm probably gonna fly through these a little bit faster than normal. Obviously, we just have the notes hope over here and whatnot. Not everything at our full disposal like normal, but nonetheless, guys, let's go ahead and jump in. We got the Orioles taking on the Cubs in game number 1 today. James Talon on the mound for the Cubs, and on the mound for the Orioles, Kramer's on the mound for them. Coming off of 2 losses for Baltimore there. Chicago wins game 1 10-3. They win game 2 3-2. I do think that this is a Chicago spot. Plus 104 right now. They are underdogs. I kind of like them in this spot here. The only thing that concerns me is this Cubs team ready to take 3 against anyone, I guess, because they have not seemed to, look all that great. But nonetheless, the Cubs are playing better baseball, kind of back to how they were playing at the beginning of the season. They have won 7 of their last 10. They won 5 straight games against decent competition. So I'm going to lean towards the Cubs here for the plus money. In terms of the total, we're looking at a total of 8.5 right now. I think this one actually goes up and over. I don't trust either one of these pitchers. Moving on, we got the Braves taking on the Rockies. Morton on the mound for the Braves. Anderson on the mound for the Rockies. We know which side has the better pitcher there. Atlanta coming off of 3 straight wins, I believe. I believe it's the fourth of a 4-game series, right? Atlanta coming off of 3 straight games against Colorado, none of which have been close. Atlanta's obviously the better team, but the odds here are just going to be absolutely terrible. Minus 300 for Atlanta. You don't love to see that. There's no way you can pull the trigger on Atlanta as a single play there. Maybe in some sort of a parlay, but guys, I'll be honest, even their run line at minus 1.5 for minus 153 doesn't seem to be really worth it. So I am going to probably stick away from this in terms of an individual play. If you want to throw it in some sort of a parlay or something like that, go for it. I do think Atlanta has what it takes to win this game today, but I don't think it is all that great. And I think it just started to rain a little bit on the windshield, so apologies if that messes with the audio. But yeah, we're trying to get this video out. In terms of a total 9.5 runs, I told you guys yesterday, it's tough to take an over when you're pretty much counting on one team, right? And that's what we're doing here with Atlanta. All these games, so it was 3 games. I was correct in my memory there. 8-3, 8-1, and 10-2. Atlanta is covering these themselves. I don't know if they can just necessarily sustain that. They have been obviously scoring a bunch of runs as of late, but I'm going to lean towards the under here because Colorado, 1, has not been scoring any runs to help these, right? And 2, I have a feeling now that Atlanta's just going to have a come back down to earth game. I'm not necessarily fearing the pitching side of the Rockies. I think that the Atlanta bats cool off just for 1 game. So this could probably be like a 7-2 game and still sit under 9.5. So I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, Nationals taking on the Marlins here. Nationals have Patrick Corbin on the mound. He's 4-7 with a 4.81 ERA. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for the Marlins here. Marlins coming off of 2 straight wins against Washington. Washington, though, keeping these games close. Not necessarily last game, but a lot of their games, whether they're losing or winning, have been kind of like hard-fought games. I'm not trying to hype them up that much, but I do still think that there is the value side on Washington. More probably for the run line here, minus 110 or so for plus 1.5 ain't all that bad. I just don't think Miami is a minus 156 money line type team. So I'm going to lean towards Washington. I think I've done that every game this series. They've lost both games so far. We haven't pulled the trigger on a final play, but nonetheless, I do still think that, the value part of it is there. What we do also like, and we did hit on yesterday in a 2-1 night, I should have recapped that. We hit the under here yesterday, which was under 9.5. I don't mind the under again. This isn't like a testament to the pitching. I think it's more or less a testament to the offenses where, yes, game 1 was 6-5. Oh, they went over. No. Every other game that both these teams are playing, they're not scoring that many runs. They're having under type games. So I lean towards the under again. All right, game 1 of 2 today. Red Sox taking on the Yankees. We don't have any lines for game number 1. TBA on who is pitching for the Red Sox. But you guys know how I feel about doubleheaders. It may be weird, but it is my stance. I don't love betting both sides of a doubleheader. I either bet game 1 or game 2. I do have a lean in game 2, so we'll get to that once we get there. Mets taking on the Cardinals here. Carrasco on the mound for the Mets. Matthew Liberatore on the mound for the Cardinals in this one. St. Louis coming off of a win yesterday, 5-3, but the Mets kind of shocked me, at least in game 1, winning 6-1. This one, I think, is going to go a little bit more kind of down the middle, so I do think it's going to have a hard-fought game. We're looking at a total of 9.5. This is the only game that I think I'm leaning towards the over in, so far in this series. I don't have a lean on either side. Both these sides have shown, okay, I can win game 1. Oh, we'll win game 2. Kind of confusing to me, and you guys know I kind of keep it 100% with you guys. If I'm confused about it, I'm not going to fake a lean for you guys. So I don't really like a side in this one, but I do like the over. I think that a decent amount of runs get scored in today's game. Astros taking on the Reds. Blanco on the mound for the Astros. Luke Weaver on the mound for the Reds, guys. In terms of what we're looking at, Cincinnati still kind of rolling. 8 of their last 10 games. They've won 7 straight games. 3 of those, I told you guys yesterday, are against Kansas City. I don't want to give them all that much credit for that, but nonetheless, they've taken 2 against Houston now. So I got to give credit where it's due. And Houston, surprisingly, has lost 7 of their last 10, and they are not playing teams that you'd think that they'd be losing against. Washington, Cincinnati, still taking L's against those. So I am going to, no pun intended, lean with the red hot team. I'm going to look at the Reds in this one. I don't know if I make it a final play because this is very similar to, I shouldn't say it's similar, but when, the A's were/are on their hot streak, and I'm like, I can't jump on board. I'll lean that way, but I just can't jump on board because I'll jinx type of thing. I do think that this is a spot for Cincinnati to, kind of, the wheels come off a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, that's the Reds. No, they're not the superstar team or anything like that. But I don't think they're ready for that yet. So as confusing as that is, I'm going to lean towards the Reds. I don't think I'm making a final play because I'm more or less seeing where this win streak goes rather than backing it. So probably makes no sense to you guys, but it makes sense up in this dumb brain. In terms of the total here, we're looking at a total of 8.5. I do like the over, but again, this is another situation where I'm like, I don't really know if I pull the trigger on it or if I just watch it. I'm almost judging it based on yesterday's game, which was 10-3 game. If Cincinnati stays hot, I think the Houston Bats at least come alive a little bit today, and then we hit cash and over. All right, Twins taking on the Tigers. Varland on the mound for the Twins, but we don't have a Tigers pitcher just yet, so we are going to skip this game. I think the odds are obviously going to be pretty heavily favored towards Minnesota, so I lean in that direction regardless, and some sort of a parlay piece or whatnot, but we don't really know who is pitching. I don't have a total for you guys either. It opened up at 8, but has disappeared on most sportsbooks, so if it's 8, I'm going to lean towards the over, but again, we don't have an updated total. All right, the Royals taking on the Angels here. Greinke on the mound for the Royals and Anderson on the mound for the Angels. Kansas City coming off of a big win. I shouldn't say big, but a lot of runs scored in yesterday's game. 10-9. I do think that the Angels have obviously a chance to bounce back today. I think that I'm starting to pick up on something too when Greinke's on the mound for the Royals. I think because he has the name. I shouldn't really, judge that, but he does have the name, and all of a sudden we're looking at, an Angels team now because they're going up against this Royals team at only -110. Like, talk about value. They're the better team, the far better team, and you're going to get them against one of the worst teams in the league at -110. I think that Greinke's name has a little bit of pull there, I should say. So I lean towards the Angels. I like that spot. In terms of the total, 9.5, 10-9 yesterday is like, whoa, both these teams can score. I don't know if I buy it yet, so I'm going to lean towards the under there. All right, moving on, we have the Brewers taking on the Pirates. And guys, by the way, I apologize for flying through this. Literally sitting in a car, a little bit of rain coming down, phone on a tripod, iPad in terms of notes. We're trying to get the video out here. I know this isn't the quality or the speed or the pace, but I would rather post a video getting it out than not post one at all. This isn't ideal. It's a little late, that type of thing. So hopefully you guys don't mind that. So let me know in the comments what you think of the car videos. And actually, screw it. 9 minutes in, go ahead and drop 9 in the comments if you are still watching, because that's impressive. That's the real ones. If you're watching this with this audio, with this video, I'm in the Lamborghini. Thank you guys. If you're still watching at this point, thank you, because that means you are a real one. You're putting up with it. So hopefully you guys, don't mind the audio, the video, the car. It is tough. I'm in the Porsche, but it's like, I got to do what I got to do. You know what I mean? So hope you guys do, enjoy the video still. Hit that subscribe button and like button if you are still watching. Brewers taking on the Pirates here. Brewers minus 151 in this one. Peralta's on the mound for them. Luis Ortiz on the mound for the Pirates. We did lose. This is our only loss yesterday. Took the Pirates, who are now just kind of sliding. They've lost 5 in a row. Lost 3 against the Cubs. They lost 2 against Milwaukee. I do lean towards the Pirates again here. I actually like Milwaukee to win this game, but I don't mind the Pirates on the run line. But that's only going to be in some sort of a parlay probably. If you can get good odds, sure. But right now we're looking at odds that are just a little bit too crazy, minus 160-ish for the run line. If we can get that down in the minus 140s, if this line moves, I don't mind the Pirates to keep this game close. I actually think that they can win this game. But like I said, I think the Brewers probably win the game, but I do think the Pirates have a strong chance to win. Rangers taking on the Blue Jays here. Rangers came up for us yesterday with the win. Gray on the mound for the Rangers today. Bassett on the mound for the Blue Jays, and I think it's another spot for the Rangers. They lose game 1 of this and then win yesterday 4-2. I like the Rangers in this one. I also like the under. I think that this is a good spot for that. We've seen 2 teams trending in an under direction. Eventually, both these offenses, the lid's going to come off. It is. I don't think it's today, so I'm still going to lean towards the under. The Athletics taking on the Phillies here. Hogan Harris on the mound for the Athletics. Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies here. Phillies now have taken 2 against Oakland. And like I said, that Oakland sort of win streak probably is over. They're probably back to being a bad baseball team. The thing is, it's still difficult to bet on because you have an Oakland team that now is going to draw odds against everyone else that are crazy. They're plus 203 today. I'm not going to take the Phillies at minus 224, so I kind of stick away from that. What I like is the over 8 runs. So we saw this the Oakland team scoring a bunch of runs. I shouldn't even say a bunch, but they're scoring a bunch of, a bunch for them would be 4 runs, 5 runs, that type of thing. And all of a sudden it's cooled down. I do think that, at some point, that kind of returns within this series. So I'm going to lean towards the over here. We've seen 2 games go under. I think Oakland at least contributes today, which means, I think the Phillies are going to give you their standard, I shouldn't say standard, but their standard, 4 or 5 runs, maybe a couple extra day. And then the A's give you, 4-3, making this an over, definitely achievable. So I'm leaning towards the over here. But again, kind of off on these games. Very similar to the Royals, but we're getting good odds in that Angels-Royals series here. I really kind of look past some of these games just because the odds aren't going to be in our favor, regardless of what side we're looking at, whether it's a side or a total. Mariners taking on the White Sox here. Miller on the mound for the Mariners. You got a 4.06 ERA. Lance Lynn on the mound for the White Sox. You can't spell Lance Lynn without 2 L's, and it's exactly the way we're leaning today. I do like Seattle in this one. I love the fact that, Chicago's coming off a win yesterday too. I think that helps the odds today, only at minus 148 right now on the money line. Give me Seattle all day long. In terms of the total, 7.5 runs. It is kind of interesting because, we look at this one like, 2 pitchers that can let up a decent amount of runs, but, in this series, kind of shockingly, because Seattle scoring a bunch of runs and they come into the series and it's like the brakes just got slammed on. And then Chicago, they've been pretty consistent, 2 to 4 runs. 7.5 is fairly placed. I do think that this is a game in which we could see, a 5-3 type finish, just barely getting over. So I do lean slightly towards the over. And when I say slightly, I mean it, slightly towards the over. All right, guys, we got the Diamondbacks taking on the Guardians here. Davies on the mound for the Diamondbacks, and then the Guardians have Tanner Beebe on the mound. We liked the Guardians yesterday. Did not pull the trigger on them. Thank God they ended up losing 6-3. And just because of, trend purposes here, I do think this is a Guardians spot. Like, I don't think these 2 teams are sweep worthy on either side. I know that's not the way to bet, but I do kind of have that feeling in this big old gut. So I do lean towards the Guardians here on the money line. In terms of odds, you're getting a decent deal too. Minus 103 on some sportsbooks here. They opened up at minus 125, so it's getting a little bit favorable for the better there to take the Guardians. In terms of the total, 9.5 runs. We haven't seen the Guardians, kind of flash back to what they were doing, I would say, against Boston and then Houston. They had 2 series in a row in which they were scored a bunch of runs, but we haven't seen that yet. Arizona's still kind of carrying the torch in this series in terms of predominantly scoring. I think the Guardians, if we do want them to win, they're going to have to score a bunch of runs, so I think that helps towards an over as well. Dodgers taking on the Giants. Gonsolin on the mound for the Dodgers, going up against Logan Webb here. Like both these pitchers, obviously Gonsolin, we've pulled the trigger on a bunch of player props, but this San Francisco team is puzzling me as of late. They've won 6 in a row here, and they're just scoring 1 million runs. So even though I love Gonsolin, even though I do think the Dodgers are the better team, I don't think the value bet here is the Dodgers as favorites. Like this Giants team, you might want to take the shot on in terms of a money line, because you're getting plus 110 odds, right? So my brain and analytics and everything says to lean towards the Dodgers. But I'm looking at a game in which this Giants team can score a bunch of runs no matter who they're playing, no matter who's pitching, that type of thing. So it is a little interesting, I guess we could say. But nonetheless, guys, I'm going to lean towards, I guess, this is one of those ones where I'm like, I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers, but I don't hate the pick of the Giants or anything like that. We got some weird camera thing going on right now, but is what it is. We only got a few games left. I'm leaning towards the Dodgers, and then I'm leaning towards the over, because that's the smart thing to do right now. This Giants team is scoring a bunch of runs, and if you guys are on the Giants for plus money in the comments, like, I'm not going to talk you off that ledge whatsoever. Padres taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Musgrove is on the mound for the Padres here. Yonny Chirinos is on the mound for the Rays. He's 3-1 with a 2.35 ERA. Yesterday's game, Tampa Bay actually gets a 2-0 loss. Tampa Bay, not scoring as many runs as you'd like to see as of late. They're still giving, other than the 0, they're still giving you the 3 to 5 runs, but that is not really how they were winning baseball games prior to earlier in the year. So little interesting there. San Diego kind of gets by yesterday with a 2-0 win. I think that this is obviously a bounce back spot for one of the better teams in the league, and Tampa Bay is plus 126. So yes, it comes down to the pitching. I understand that, but I don't think that this is a spot in which we can kind of miss the opportunity. Not necessarily for a final play, but I'm not going to look at this and lean towards the the Padres at all. I'm going to lean towards the Rays. In terms of a total, I don't really have a lean on the total. 9 runs. We've seen a very inconsistent Tampa Bay team, so I'm going to lean towards the under here. Don't love it, though. Probably not going to make it towards the final play. All right, last game of the slate, we have the Red Sox taking on the Yankees. Brian Bayo on the mound for the Red Sox. Yankees have Luis Severino here. I'm a Red Sox fan. I think the value is in the Yankees. Plus 120 with Severino on the mound. Obviously, they are missing some guys in the lineup, most notably Aaron Judge. But nonetheless, guys, I still think this is a good spot for the Yankees. Game 1 goes to the Red Sox. They win 15-5. Yesterday's postponed. Now they have the doubleheader today. I like Game 3 here in this spot with Severino on the hump. So I'm leaning towards the Yankees in this one. Total right now is sitting at 9 runs. I think this one does go under. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a pitching matchup than we'd originally think. So I'm leaning towards the under here. Guys, that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys do enjoy. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.